right, hello everyone, and welcome to the Austin Fast Start Internet of Things Small Business Pitch Competition. I'm Celia Butanda. I am currently a board member for AYC. Have the honor and privilege of being here for the first year. And I'm also the Deputy Executive Director for Latinitas. We are an Austin-based nonprofit organization serving girls to innovate through media and technology. We have done so since 2002, offering year-round programs for girls to learn about media and tech, including everything from coding, robotics, AI, to drones, virtual reality, and more. On that note, I know that we are all operating and are aware that we're operating in a virtual world nowadays. So let's embrace the technology and go with the flow this evening. We thank you for your patience and understanding moving forward. Today's virtual Austin Fast Start is a reoccurring pitch competition designed to support Austin's early entrepreneurs and startups. The event is a partnership between the City of Austin's Small Business Program and the Austin Young Chamber. The Austin Young Chamber is dedicated to developing young professionals into dynamic business and community leaders. As we have seen in recent days, leadership is more important than ever. Among our focus is to create a community that fosters diversity of ideas and perspectives. There is work to be done to overcome the many challenges we are facing, and getting where we need to be will take all of us, our determination, our innovation, and our diversity to stand united. We are currently holding our annual membership drive, and we invite you to join us as we come together as a community to create meaningful and lasting change in our city and ourselves. Visit our website, austinyc.org, to learn more about our membership, programs, and events. Thank you to our event partners, 3-Day Startup and HEB. Thank you to our event sponsors, Texas McCombs MBA and Texas McCombs MSTC. I would like to invite Christy Jenkins with the Texas McCombs MBA to share a few words about their programs.
Sure, I'd be happy to. First of all, I want to say thank you to the Austin Young Chamber for inviting me to speak briefly with you all today. My name is Christy Jenkins, and I'm the Senior Recruiting and Admissions Officer for the Evening MBA program. And I'm also here representing my colleagues in the Masters of Science with Technology Commercialization program, or MSTC for short. As the name implies, MSTC is all about bringing a tech product to market. It's 13 months. It runs from May to May, and it's mostly online. So kind of in short, MSTC can teach you how to start a tech company, and then the MBA can teach you how to run it. Our evening MBA program is for working professionals. Classes are on Monday and Tuesday evenings from 6 to 9 p.m., and the program runs just over 2 years, 28 months, and begins in January. So we're right in the middle of our recruitment cycle right now, and you can apply right now. The evening MBA curriculum has a general management model. We find that the best leaders and future CEOs need to understand every aspect of a company, from accounting and finance to marketing, operations, data analytics, management, leadership, and also understand how all those things interrelate. In addition, we host a pitch competition twice a year through the Texas Venture Labs, very similar to the one today. So if you want more information, you can come to one of our upcoming events. They're listed online at texasmbaevents.com. The next event for the evening and executive MBA program is on Wednesday, July 1st at 5:30 online. But event tonight, and good luck to all the teams.
Yeah, thank you so much, Christy. All right, well, as a reminder, if you all would share along on social media tonight using the hashtags #AustinFastStart and #IoT. To explain a bit about the application process that brought us here today, in April and May of this year, the Austin Young Chamber accepted applications from local Internet of Things startups and small businesses. Internet of Things offers solutions that transform the way we live and work by leveraging the interconnection between everyday objects and internet connectivity. Internet of Things businesses use increased connectivity, data, algorithms, and/or automation to improve services and enable things like smart cities, smart homes, and more. These groundbreaking businesses work to solve real problems that impact people. The applications were scored by 4 judges representing the small business, startup, IoT, and investor communities. From that scoring process, we determined our top 4 finalists who are pitching tonight. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our judges. Please welcome, first up, Nick Chagan, Program Manager for 3-Day Startup. All right, and then next we have Chelsea Collier, founder of DigiCity.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for putting this together. It's really fantastic to see all the teams.
Thank you, Chelsea. Next up, we have Will Griffin, Chief Ethics Officer for Hypergiant.
Hello.
Hello, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And finally, we have Paul O'Brien, Chief Executive Officer for Media Tech Ventures.
Good luck tonight, everybody. Really excited about this because Internet of Things is definitely one of Austin's hotspots. Excited.
Absolutely. Yes. No, thank you, judges, for your time and expertise in the application process. So tonight, each finalist will have 5 minutes to make their pitch, followed by 8 minutes of Q&A with our judges and audience. Finalists, remember to keep your eye on the clock. We do have control of your AV. To our audience in Zoom, if you would like to submit a question to a finalist for the Q&A session, you can enter it into the Q&A tool in Zoom. Make the distinction between the chat feature and the Q&A feature. We will be using the Q&A feature. Tonight's winner will be determined by a combined judges score and audience vote. Judges will score each finalist to account for 80% of their score, and the audience vote will account for the remaining 20%. After all 4 finalists have pitched this evening, we will display a live poll in Zoom for our registered Zoom attendees to cast their vote for the best pitch. For those joining us on Facebook Live, you can find the Zoom registration link in the comments. All right, we are on schedule, so I think we can get started. Our first finalist is the business of Winter Haven Capital and will be pitched by founder David Love.
Should I get started?
Yes, you can get started. If you could start your video as well.
I'm screen sharing. Are you not seeing this?
Yep, we're seeing that. If you could start your webcam, sorry.
Oh. It's not allowing me to.
Okay, give us 1 second for some technical troubleshooting then.
Thank you all so much for waiting. As I said before, thank you for your patience understanding virtual events. As we all know, technical difficulties is the thing we have to keep an eye on. So we'll just give it another minute or so.
All right, can everybody see me now? Both the presentation and my webcam?
Yes, you're good to go.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. I would like to thank AYC for giving me the opportunity. My name is David Love. I'm the founder of Winter Haven Capital. I'm here today to talk about risk management and investing in the stock market. I'll present the solution, end user, team, and conclude with our ask. Recently, we have seen a counter trend reversal from passive to managed investing. The now infamous day trader and Barstool owner, Dave Portnoy, represents one of the many Americans who turn to day trading due to their unmet needs with the pandemic shutting down casinos and gambling. Americans in the $35,000 to $75,000 income bracket traded 90% more the week they got their stimulus check than the week they had before. The Robinhood search in investing shows the willingness and urgency of retail investors to put their skin in the game. This led me to ask, how can we help retail investors and open the world of alternative investments so they can manage risk and improve their returns? According to Statista research, in times of market uncertainty, people make immediate changes to their risk profile during periods of market losses. 70% of investors rebalance their portfolio. This is why we came up with the Quanthouse Analytics Terminal, a fully automated tool managing uncertainty and financial losses for the retail investor. Using our algorithms, we can look at all your investments and recommend a 2-year hedge using option contracts. Who is this end user? Meet Carlos. He's a first-generation immigrant who has been a Spanish high school teacher for over 25 years in the United States. The year is early 2008, and Carlos is looking to retire within a year. He has a pension fund, a 401k, and an IRA retirement account. He is financially disciplined and puts a percentage of his monthly income in each of these accounts, hoping to cash out in 2009. However, as October of 2008 comes around, Lehman fails, and by early 2009, the great financial crisis is full in swing. Carlos has been laid off, forced to dip into his investments when he was strapped for cash. Had Carlos used the terminal, our automated hedging algorithm would have had his account holding an insurance policy, also known as a put, in case his asset lost value. Near the bottom of the salad, he would have sold his put for a hefty premium, carefully calculated to cover his investment loss. This would have given him the cold hard cash when he needed it. And this is exactly why we built Quanthouse Analytics Terminal. Imagine this, you simply log in and the terminal will aggregate on a single dashboard all the investments you have. All devices will be seamlessly synced and connected to the internet, and the terminal will allow you to monitor your risk all in real time and all automated. Trade more wisely while being educated on your decisions with our machine learning algorithm and our education platform. We are taking a page from The Innovator's Dilemma and will charge $99 a month for our basic end user or $3,000 for our most expensive. Any investor would ask, how do we plan to deliver this platform? We have short-term and long-term milestones. This summer, our focus will be on validating the market that we know is out there. We will reach 15,000 people and run them through a 3-step surveying process to weed out investors that don't have the problem. We will focus on learning about the retail investor, their problems, why they invest, and what, if any, action they took the last time they lost money. All of this will be done without mentioning our solution once. Once we have completed the market validation, we will have 100 end users ready to begin for our beta test. Now, why do we have domain expertise to educate on market downturns? I have been trading stocks in Austin since 2017, much in part to my experience at JP Morgan that summer. This past November through April 2020, I managed a $150,000 investment portfolio and ran the strategy we were automating. I was able to return 44% to the investors. But the real question is, how did we manage the risk? We suffered a maximum drawdown of 10% with a 2.75 Sharpe ratio. We are young, but we have put together a team with C-suite experience at places such as Microsoft, Dimensional Fund Advisors, and more. Add to this 2 Stanford students, 2 UT computer science engineers, and an SMU analyst, and we arrive at the core of our value proposition, our talent. And so we arrive at our ask. We are asking for $2,500 to execute our market validation strategy and finish the development of the Quanthouse terminal. With your help, we can democratize finance for the retail investor. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, David. All right. Now, we're still not going to let you go. We have some questions. So I'm going to prompt the judges if you all want to kick it off with a question.
David, nicely done. Really good pitch. Sounds like you've been practicing a lot and have even heard quite a few startups in the space. Can you give us a sense for competitors and try to put yourself, don't put yourself in a box. That's not what entrepreneurs do, but I'd love to put yourself in the market where you fit for us, right? Because I'm hearing portfolio management, I'm hearing quantitative analysis, I'm hearing, you know, some insight and experience and perspective to help deliver better returns. Sounds like you're doing a lot of different things, and I'd love to better understand exactly where you define yourself as probably fitting into the market and why you're distinct, and a compelling alternative to what's already out there.
Yeah, so thank you very much for the question. First of all, I would say that in terms of our position in the market, we see ourselves between a certified financial advisor and a robo-advisor such as Wealthfront. What we are going to offer that is differentiated from the rest of the market is we're going to aggregate this data, build the databases, and then what we'll offer will be different quantitative tools that hedge funds normally have that generally cost $500,000 or more to build. And we will offer that cheaper than what the current alternative is right now with the Bloomberg terminal. I don't see ourselves competing with Bloomberg because Bloomberg caters to institutions. We are trying to bring quantitative investing to the retail investor through our equity research division and the team that we have. We are looking to differentiate ourselves as well with the research that we publish. From that research, we plan to supply a curriculum to our education platform, which will then correspond with the tools that we're building. So that way we are essentially walking the investor through each step of the quantitative investing without them doing any calculations themselves.
Great, thank you. Do any of the other judges have a question?
Hey, David, that was great. I do have a question. One, I really like the way you set up your background and experience and how you took advantage of your summer at JP Morgan. That was outstanding. And then you turned it into an actual product and a venture while you were still a student. So one of the things that we really like around Hypergiant, we have a bunch of serial entrepreneurs in here, is we like hustle. And you definitely have hustle. And I want to
appreciate that.
So I just really have two questions for you. You can answer them probably quickly. One is, you said you had $150,000 base capital and a 44% return over what period of time? Just this 6 months?
It's from November through April.
Okay, so the first question is, why do you need the money? Because you're asking for what, $2,500?
Well, we're asking $2,500 for the market validation, but we're really fundraising our seed round of $500,000 for the tournament.
So you're here for what? To win?
To win and then finish the market validation so that we can fundraise the rest of the $500,000.
But how much did you make off of the 44% return? I guess what I'm asking is, what was your carry or your piece of that 150? Because I'm assuming going forward, that's what the investor is going to get a piece of, whatever your carry is, right?
Well, do you mean for there's two distinctions that we must make. One must be when I was managing money versus this terminal. We're not going to be managing the money. There's a clear distinction between us and the financial advisor. We're just going to be walking the investor through making those decisions on their own. And so we would actually charge a SaaS business model rather than a percentage of the carry of the returns.
So do you have, is the money management business a second business to this?
Yes, and the reason for that is that the unit economics of managing under $25 million for a startup hedge fund that is trying to implement some quantitative strategies just does not make sense.
Right, I got you. Again, salute. I appreciate your presentation and your hustle.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Will, for your questions. Chelsea, do you have anything to add?
Hi, no, echoing your presentation, I thought it was very well organized and well done. When I think of the Internet of Things, I look at it from a smart cities perspective, more along devices that are collecting information. And it sounds like you're really working in the area of data, but around kind of aggregating that data and insights from that, as opposed to more of a traditional smart cities play, which is all about physical hardware and devices. Do I have that straight?
Yes, you do.
Okay, great. Thanks for that.
Thank you. And Nick?
Yeah, great presentation. My question kind of piggybacks off of Paul's a little bit. You mentioned a lot of different features and a lot of different components to your technology that you'll be providing for your customers. What I'm curious about is can you just quickly lay out the MVP? Like what is that single solution that's solving the main problem that you're trying to solve? Like
Yeah.
what is the one feature that really customers need to be utilizing for your service?
The central feature and core value proposition that we have is the automated hedging tool. I will be able to take a look at any long exposure portfolio and provide you with a hedge with a lead put, which is a 2-year put out into the future. And then the hedge will be calculated according to what's called the delta of your portfolio, so that your long exposure will be actually a riskless hedge because it will be matched by that put. And so that would be the central core value that we would offer to a customer.
Gotcha. And your market validation, if you were to win this and use this money for market validation, whether that's surveying or just mass customer discovery, are you open to that feedback, changing what you currently see as that automated hedging tool being the value prop?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, the reason that we're so focused on the market validation is we just completed our accelerator with the Texas Ventures Lab at Macomb this past spring, but our market research got cut short due to COVID. And so what we're trying to do now is go out and finish the market validation and have a final specs document. So that is not finalized yet, and I'm very open to what it might look like at the end.
That's good. Cool. Do you have a working prototype right now?
Yes, we have an MVP.
Cool. Great. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, David. Thank you, judges. Best of luck. And we will move on to our second finalist to pitch with the business Anka Labs, pitched by founder Alper Uzmezler.
Do I sound okay?
Yes, you do.
Okay, and screen is live, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, my name is Alper Uzmezler. I'm the founder of Anka Labs, and our slogan is building Internet of Things is greater than 5, and 5 meaning existing giant 5 companies. Buildings consume 40% of the energy in the world, and the current building automation systems that controls the equipment are proprietary and built on old technology. We are creating a hardware agnostic open source controls, and it's basically a revolutionary open source project, and the project is called Project SANDSTAR. The existing state of the smart buildings is as such. You have a desktop app. It's a TIC client that you install on your desktop, and you can only program the device with the company that is basically giving you that tool. What we have built is we have built an open source application where the logic between the building control devices are portable. They are hardware agnostic. And also we have a Chrome browser to program these devices instead of desktop applications. How we achieved it is that we merged 2 open source projects. One of them is Project Haystack. It's a semantic data model for Internet of Things, and the second project is called Sedona. Within the SANDSTAR engine, we read the data from the electronics boards, I2C, UART, GPIO, and then we basically tag it in a semantic data model so that we can automate a lot of the value generation within the Project Haystack. And what is the value generation automated is that you can do your analytics automatically, you can do your machine learning automatically, you can do your visualization layers automatically for things, and you can create your mobile application views automatically because it's already semantically data typed. We are also working with hardware. We have built our first hardware you all listed a couple of years ago. We are also working on our second generation controller that is PoE based. We have open sourced the indoor air quality sensor that we had built. We open sourced the whole design, industrial design hardware to fight off COVID for the UNDP challenge. And I have the link at the bottom. We have revolutionary OpenStack. The existing building model is at the left, you have a microcontroller, gateway, supervisor, and clouds to do the analytics. We are basically condensing all that stack into an individual IP device. The data flow is basically you control, historize, analyze, cluster all these devices together. You visualize from the cluster, you can question the cluster as well. This is the data flow explanation, and I have a link at the bottom if you would like to look more into it. We have done pilots. We have done a pilot with UCSF, 13 devices. We have done a rooftop unit for over 3 years working in Florida. We have installed variable air volume boxes, and then we have done air quality monitoring stations. We have sold it to NREL, and we shipped it out to Canada as well. What we found is it saves 25% of implementation costs are lowered, and 15% potential energy consumption is achievable. We have a community-based model, professional, enterprise, and OEM model of businesses. We are looking into a community growth. In our Slack room, we have 110 engineers, and we are looking to grow the sales accordingly as we have more engineers looking into it. We are looking, looking into expanding to other verticals like vessels, retail space, and agriculture as well. Once we achieve to the other verticals within the IoT, we are hoping to increase our sales as well. The TAM is 95, SAM is 15 billion, and SOM is 1.5 billion. We have a diverse team all over the world, and we work from home already due to COVID. We're looking for a funding of 2.2550. We are looking into basically utilizing it for partners in US and China for manufacturing and ship it globally. The use of funds will go to developing the ecosystem and the channels, form professional services organization, and form support organization for growth globally. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alper. We appreciate your presentation. All right, we will move on to the judges Q&A. So why don't we start with Chelsea?
Oh, thanks so much. Alper, what an amazing project that you're working on, or company rather. I think this has a lot of application. I think you presented a lot of information, especially on the technical side, really well, especially for non-technical audiences. So thank you for that. I'd like to learn a little bit more about your pilots. Just go in a little bit more into detail in terms of what were some of the outcomes of those pilots. Are you looking to do more? And if yes, what does that look like for you?
The pilots that we have done was 13 flow monitoring stations for a university. The pilot paid itself back within 2 months. There were air leaks on the air compressors. They were able to pinpoint within that pilot for where the air leaks are. We have also installed on a rooftop unit in Florida, 20-ton rooftop unit. And the return, because the device also does analytics, we can constantly check if it's working optimally and doing small corrections instead of sending the data to the cloud. It does it itself. And
are you looking across all building automation systems, or are you focused primarily on HVAC and energy related systems?
This can go into other parts as well, like lighting. We can bring in Dolly protocol into the edge device, and we can control it based on that. We can bring the metering data into the device as well through Modbus, RTU, or other systems. So the more data the device has in it, we can control it better, and the whole control logic is within the device.
And then one other question, I promise I'll stop hogging for all the other judges. But I'm curious as to why you're expanding so quickly into other IoT verticals and going outside of smart buildings and
actually, on my slide, I did say stated that after we applying the smart building success, once we are
got it.
fully successful, then we can expand to other verticals if, stated that we are already successful in the smart building
Okay,
space.
that makes sense because the
Yeah.
the market's pretty big, so I think there's a lot of work to do, and
That
your
is
proposal
correct.
is really innovative. So congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chelsea. A question from Paul.
Very cool technology, very cool idea as well. There are two schools of thought that are increasingly popular in the startup communities and in technology. Number one is that platforms are the most valuable and dominant way to change the world at this point. Most of what we're seeing be really successful is a platform. So applaud for that discovery and realization of an opportunity in this case. The second thought that I love is the idea that open source is your greatest competitor as a startup founder. And so here's my question, because you guys are working in open source. Understand that it's going to take a tremendous amount of capital to build something like this. Raising funding for an open source project or an open source technology, an open source company can be challenging because an investor is going to look for some sort of return. Can you give us a sense for what that return looks like? Is this something you hope to build and get sold? Are you going to try to bring it to a B Corp or a public market in some way and open source the technology in greater scale that way? Give us a better sense for what years from now might look like with those investors.
Yeah, the open source is built because the existing architecture is very siloed. Each company builds their own electronics board, and they can only sell it to the channel that they built. So there's the open source part is to break that model of business completely. And it's already been open sourced. And the part that we make, the income is from analytics, bringing the analytics to the edge devices instead of doing it in the cloud. Passing data from edge to cloud is tremendous effort, especially for vectors like smart buildings where there's not enough money to move the data to the cloud, and you lose the data granularity, and you lose the data can get dirty, and you can't create the analytics that you're looking for. Being able to do it at the edge where the controls logic is portable makes a lot more sense. At that level, you create hardware. Hardware becomes agnostic, basically. So you bring more hardware manufacturers into the play as well. So monetization side would be done from analytics. And as to your question on going to opening up to the market, it could happen if we can change how the market works.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Alper. We can hear from Will.
First of all, excellent presentation and obviously an excellent product. One that I feel like there could be a lot of different ways that you can market it and ways that you could sell it that could take advantage of some of the zeitgeist going on now, especially in terms of sustainability, the environmental impact. I think all those things are strong. So my question is related to how you sold in your two pilots, and what is your strategy for marketing and selling going forward?
Yeah, so how I got the first customers, I'm in the industry for 20 years, pretty much well known within the industry. We do have a distribution business, and that's how I got my contacts. So this is a second company, is a technology startup company based on that. And your second question was?
Sorry, the second question is what's your sales strategy going forward?
Yeah, the sales strategy is going to be through distributors, resellers, and OEM manufacturers. So meaning that there will be regional distributors, there will be regional resellers, and there will be other hardware manufacturers that would put the stack into their own devices. That's the only way a revolution can happen.
Great, thank you, and best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Nick, we have time for one question from you.
I don't have any questions. Moreover, just some feedback on your pitch. It sounds like a great product. For some people like me who may not be as technically savvy, a lot of that sounded like French. And a lot of the other panelists seem to know a lot of what you're talking about. So I would just maybe implore you to think about how you could explain your product, explain all the technology in much more like just in layman's terms, right? So that really someone who isn't that technical can understand it. As well as during some of your slides, you talked pretty fast and would go through some of the slides to where we're trying to read what's happening on the slides, but then you kind of go to the next slide. So if there are slides in your pitch that really aren't that important to have, and where they're just kind of there for a visual, but there's a lot of content on them, I would suggest trying to find ways to make them simpler and more digestible for your audience. But no, other than that, great pitch. Just yeah, consider practicing on how to make some of it a little more I guess digestible for people who aren't technical.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Alper, once again from Anka Labs. Before we move on to the next finalist, I want to remind the audience that if you would like to ask questions to our presenters, our finalists, you can go ahead and use the Q&A function in Zoom. I will also remind everyone to, if you're enjoying the event, if you want to show your support, please use the hashtags, #AustinFastStart and #IoT. And if you're interested in our AYC annual membership drive, please go to austinyc.org for more information. Okay, I think we are set to head off to the next finalist. The business is Joykeeper and will be pitched by founder and creator Mark Sean.
Hey there, can you see my screen? Okay. Can you see that? Everybody good? Okay, cool. So I'd like to talk with you about Joykeeper. So Joykeeper is a musical instrument theft solution. It's a way to prevent people from stealing your pride and joy, which is your guitar, your bass, your drums, what have you. I'm going to start here. Okay. So I'm not really here to talk to you about stocks and bonds and things to bore you. I'm really going to appeal to you more on an emotional level. My background, I've been a professional musician for several years. I also have a background in programming and app development as well. So I think that really makes me the ideal candidate to really run a company like this. So let's talk about the problem of musical instrument theft. You have a 1 in 29 chance of being a victim of property crime just in the city of Austin. This image on your left, that's actually my bass player's car that was broken into several months ago, where he had his bass stolen from him. And he didn't have anything, and he didn't have any insurance or anything like that. So I kind of started to think, what's the best way to solve this problem? So I began researching existing solutions, and there were a few things on the market like GPS-based devices, but I really didn't see anything that really ticked all the boxes. It's something you can just throw and go, and just it would be charged, and so that's where it led me to the Internet of Things, and I started looking into LoRaWAN devices connecting to the Helium network. So just to break it down, so Joykeeper is going to be available as 2 different kinds of units. So it's going to be a standalone unit and also available as a custom embedded device. So there's certain applications where you would want to have something you could just throw in a guitar case and then go. But also, let's say, for example, you have a acoustic guitar or big bass drum, you'd want to be able to fix this to your instrument. So we have a solution for both, either option there. The main benefit with JoyKeeper is you have a 2 to 3 year battery life on average versus traditional GPS-based devices that are very energy. They consume a lot of energy, and you have to really stay on top of charging those. So really the way the JoyKeeper runs is it's going to run off the Helium network, which has a lot of investment already. So the main advantages of the Helium network is larger range than Wi-Fi, and it's also going to be a lot cheaper, so 50 times cheaper than a cellular GPS solution. There is a company called Avisaleash that is using Helium already. So we're basically just taking that model and putting it into something that tracks assets like musical instruments. What's next for the company? Well, we're going to be very close to debuting a prototype. Once we have that in hand, and with the money, if we win this competition, we're going to roll out tests to the Austin music community. There's quite a few great musicians around town that we're going to get this in the hands of. They're going to test it, and then we're going to survey them and get their feedback for that. After then, we'll expand more on a national and global level, and I could foresee celebrity endorsements and all kinds of things in this growing market. The music instrument market is really growing fast. You have companies like Guitar Center and Sweetwater that are still growing, still selling a lot of things. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for growth. And that's really JoyKeeper in a nutshell. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mark. All right. Why don't we kick off questions from the judges with Will?
First of all, very cool idea. Very, very cool idea. And I'm sure because it's linked to your passion that you're going to be excited about selling it. And I believe that potential customers are going to feel it when you bring it. And I like your whole style, the whole thing. But my question is more of a business question. How big is the addressable market, and how are you going to sell it?
I don't have numbers in front of me, but I have noticed that, Sweetwater, Guitar Center, they're still growing, they're still expanding. There's actually a lot more than just those two that I've mentioned. So I think that and just beyond people that play instruments, there's a DJ market, there's all kinds of music technologies that could really benefit from this. So I think that the market is still primed for growth for even the next 10 years or so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Why don't we move on to Chelsea?
Yeah, great. Thanks so much. I really love what you're doing because it's obviously, as Will was saying, your passion, and this is the quintessential manifestation of Austin, right? Creative people who want to solve problems, and now in this current era, we're using technology to enable it and do it. I'd like to hear a little bit more about the Helium network, and I appreciate you giving the example of the pet product. What's the future of that network, and do you see that expanding? Will you be one of the very, very early products on that network, or do you think it will be more open source, crowdsourced, and it will balloon quickly?
So yeah, Helium has, for example, one of the founders is one of the gentlemen who started Napster. There's a lot of funding, a lot of enthusiasm for the Helium network, and it's especially strong in larger cities like Austin. So I think in cities where this will really come in handy are larger cities like New York or LA or Austin. And it is expanding. There's still a lot of room to grow, but I think that it really would work in a larger city like Austin.
And one quick follow-up question, I know these are early days, but wondered if you've given any thought to expanding your team and bringing on people with product development expertise, some of the marketing expertise, maybe executive level business expertise. What are your thoughts there?
Yes, definitely open for that. I'm definitely open to working and expanding this team and really grow, and always taking advice from experts and people that know a lot more than I do.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nick?
Yep, cool. Yeah, so to echo the other panelists, I love the idea. I kind of want to get a little more information on the problem you're trying to solve and your grasp of it. from like the research you've done, from the people you've talked, from the other bands you've interviewed and learned more about how they store their instruments, where do people typically store their instruments? Is it usually in their car? Do they have a storage unit? Is it in their garage or in their apartment? Just trying to learn, I guess, the scope of the problem.
So oftentimes, like in the case of my bass player, we were playing a show downtown, and he just had his equipment in his car for a few hours even. So typically, especially during big events like South by Southwest, for example, there's not a lot of room to keep your instrument in a safe and secure location. So you often have to store it in your car. So even musicians on the road, sometimes they'll have to keep their equipment in their vehicle. So I think the problem is pretty widespread. I hear a lot of stories from other musicians on the road who have had complete trailers stolen. So I think this would even solve that problem as well.
How might the device be installed, and would it be easily removable by a thief?
So are you asking about the price of the unit roughly, or?
Oh no, when you would attach this unit to an instrument, right? It's essentially a tracking device, right? For the instrument. What's to stop a person from removing that device, or how would you install it in a particular instrument so that it would be, not easy to take off?
That's a great question. So if we're going to offer it in two different versions, a standalone unit as well as something you could install, I'll just give an example. An acoustic guitar, it's got a lot of space inside of the body where you could really hide this, and nobody would even know any different between that and, let's say, a pickup or another electronic component. In the case of a standalone unit, it's going to be very discreet, where it could be confused for something like a tuner or another accessory that maybe just the thief would probably just overlook that. That's what we're hoping for.
Gotcha. Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mark, very, very cool. We work in the music business, the media business, so I get it entirely. And this, for everybody watching, this is one of those, we always lose our car keys and wish we had a thing to help us identify where they are. This is one of those ideas where you just think, why does this not exist yet? And actually, there's my question. Why does this not exist yet? Can you give us a sense for your competitive advantage? Maybe it's more that team that Chelsea's referring to, or the approach that you're taking to this, any IP or a special approach to the code or the hardware. What is it that's going to enable you to get enough of the market share as everybody realizes how good an idea this is? Because it applies not just to music instruments, right? A lot of folks are going to tackle this kind of thing as the Helium network gets adopted much more readily and the solution is possible. Talk to us about what you're thinking about there.
So that's a great question. So really, yeah, the strength lies on the Helium network. There have been other ideas and even patents filed in the past that have used GPS technology, but those companies have since failed. So I think that there's really an opportunity here to leverage a network that is just has a longer, the device will have a longer battery life. It'll have a wider range. So I really think that we're on the cusp of something that we probably couldn't have done 3-4 years ago. Probably wouldn't really be feasible, but I think now is the time to really act on using the Helium network.
Got it. And we do have one question from the audience, which you kind of touched on right now, but what could you tell us about the advantage from yours? And they gave the example of Chipolo as a competitor.
I'm not familiar with that. I thought that was a restaurant, but I guess not.
Chipotle, but Chipolo. Do you have anything else you want to add as far as the advantage of your venture? I just want to take a moment to thank everyone for joining in via Zoom or Facebook, and yeah, thanks so much. Okay, thank you, Mark. All right, and we will move on to our fourth finalist. Once again, hashtags, #AustinFastStart, #IoT, austinYC.org for membership information. Our annual membership drive is going on right now. And once again, that was founder and creator of JoyKeeper, Mark Sean. Our fourth finalist, please welcome Business of Parasanti, pitched by the Head of Business Development, Max Adams.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Max Adams. I'm the head of business development for Parasanti, and I want to thank you all for taking the time to speak with me this afternoon. At Parasanti, we refer to ourselves as the blue-collar analytics company, and we do this because we're dedicated to delivering advanced analytic capabilities into the hands of those who traditionally haven't had access to them, with a strong emphasis being on the farmer. Our ultimate goal being to deliver them rapid insights from their own hyper-localized on-farm data in order to help them increase their crop yield. So we are a veteran and farmer-led organization, with our co-founder Josh actually being the owner and proprietor of Seagroves Farms. And one of the really unique things about Parasanti is that our solution was designed by data solutions architects who not only have unique insights into structuring data, but also have intimate firsthand knowledge in agricultural workflows and the user journey of the farmer leveraging those tech products. And one of the challenges that mapped over from their time working in the defense space was capturing that upstream data. And the farm presented really similar challenges in not only capturing that upstream data, but transforming it into rapid and consumable insights, which led them to the question of how can we get rapid and affordable insights from that on-farm data? So James and Josh got to work, and they designed a solution that was tough enough for our nation's service members, but also worked as hard as our nation's farmers. Our flagship success story right now is Sunray Farms, one of the largest rice and almond farms in the country, located in Northern California. And every drop of water on Sunray Farms has a dollar amount attached to it in terms of converting those critical water resources into increased crop yields. But they couldn't find an affordable and simple solution for the challenge, so they turned to Parasanti. Today, in order to maximize efficiency on their farm, they leverage the Parasanti Package to monitor their water consumption to prevent the overwatering of fields, and also make sure that critical water resources aren't going to waste. And to quantify that, we've saved them about 10% of their total water usage this year, or another way to think of it is 360 million gallons of water. And this is the Parasanti Package. It comes in 3 primary parts: the sensor device, the edge device, and our user interface or customizable dashboard. The sensor device goes right into the soil, and it collects data on soil conductivity, water levels, alkalinity, salt levels. It takes all of that raw data, it sends it to our edge device, which is ruggedized. It runs on AA batteries with a lifespan of 10 years. And this edge device can be attached to pretty much any type of equipment on the farm, or even in a barn as well. And what it does is it consumes those data points from that sensor, conducts machine learning at the edge, and then delivers them as insights to our user interface. Now, our user interface was designed to be as simple and straightforward as plug and play as possible. And the farmer is able to access this user interface on any type of computer, laptop, phone, whatever they might have on the farm. And they can also customize and kind of move different things around to make sure that they have all the access to all their on-farm data to really serve as a catalyst for any type of decisions made on the farm. And the competitive landscape as far as IoT solutions for precision agriculture is frankly pretty sparse. Most of our competitors are focused on conducting analytics in expensive cloud environments, which really leads to an expansive and expensive implementation and operations process, as well as really an expensive, it's really expensive to scale within that cloud environment. Not to mention that you have to have a connection to bandwidth. Parasanti, on the other hand, our implementation is designed to be as lightweight as possible without the need to have any type of tech consulting associated with it. There's no need for an extensive bandwidth connection. We operate in 0 bandwidth environments, and your data is processed and delivered at the edge. So there's no associated cost with scaling your operations with more storage or paying for more analytics. And as we grow, we want to be cognizant of growing with our partners. Right now, our go-to-market strategy has been heavily focused on developing these regional partnerships and building out from there. So we've had a number of conversations and developed strong relationships with local governmental institutions and educational institutions such as the USDA, Texas A&M, to grow in this manner. And something fun we launched when the COVID crisis came out was actually our egg donation program. We partnered with a local Austin charity, and we were donating a dozen eggs from Josh's farm for every dozen eggs that we were given. So, or dozen eggs that we sold, excuse me. So that concludes my presentation. I want to thank you all for giving me the time to speak, and I'd love to answer any of your questions.
Thank you so much, Max. Why don't we kick off questions with Nick?
Great. Can you see me? Cool. Well, awesome presentation. Also, thank you for your service, Max. Question it would probably be where in the country are farmers most needing this kind of technology? Is there a particular region of the U.S. that you're looking to sell the service to, and why?
Okay. Here's the really great thing about it is really anywhere there is large scale agriculture, right? So that's a substantial portion of the country. We're able to work with vineyards, corn, cotton, grain, anywhere where they're doing any type of large scale or even medium scale agricultural operations. We're able to tailor our solution without a lot of lift for any of those challenges.
Great, cool. Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you all. Why don't we move on to Will?
Yeah, I concur. Excellent presentation, Max. Very good presentation. And when you segment the market, you have agribusiness on one end of it, the Monsantos, ConAgris of the world. Who are you going after? And have you done any market research or had any discussion with that target market already?
So we kind of segmented our customers. Right now, the addressable market for IoT and precision agriculture is around 12.7 billion, with a 40% CAGR over to 2024, up to I think around $20.9 billion. So there's this enormous market space that's really getting that's not quite addressed with these kind of edge solutions. Like I mentioned earlier, everything is just really built around, even for Monsanto's, the John Deere's, everything is built around doing these analytics in the cloud environment. And they have not invested heavily into a lot of that edge analytics right there for the farm.
So who is a potential customer?
Anyone who owns a farm, which is essentially 500 acres or above. We specifically have domain knowledge for wineries, as well as corn, cotton, grain, sorghum. So those are a lot of the clients that we're working with now. So we planned on targeting kind of those segments first and then kind of expanding and extrapolating out from there.
So would they fit in the category of more like family farms or small business farms as opposed to agribusiness?
I would say small business farms and larger, about 500 acres.
Yeah. All right, great. Good luck to you. Thank you, Max.
Hey, thank you so much, Will. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Will. Let's move on to Paul.
Hey, Max, Texas is certainly one of the best markets in the world for this kind of thing. So well done discovering a solid opportunity. What I think is missing, so maybe this is feedback as much as a question, but I didn't get much of a sense for what kind of team is in place, what kind of expertise you guys already have, other than you mentioned a couple times the few agriculture industries that you guys serve, but more specifically marketing, sales, product development, et cetera, one. And then two, can you give us a little bit of a better sense for how far along at the stage that you're at and the extent to which this is a pretty early stage startup or you're a little bit further along as it kind of seems, and so what you might be looking for from the market at this point?
Yeah, sure. So our core team right now we are 4 deep. It is myself as the head of business development. I come from a international affairs background. I worked for the special operations component of civil affairs for a while in the defense space. And so a lot of what I dealt with in my time in civil affairs was I'd go into these impoverished communities and I'd realize, and I saw that a lot of the issues centered around issues in agriculture. So it's something I put a lot of time and effort into learning. And our 2 co-founders, technical co-founders, are data solutions architects who've also worked in the defense space, with our co-founder Josh actually owning a farm here in Williamson County. So he knew firsthand, he understood firsthand because he faced them every day, the challenges that a lot of farmers across the country were with capturing that upstream data. And I'm sorry, what was the second part of that question again?
Just maybe tie it a little bit more to some insight as to the stage you're at, how far along you are, what's next,
Okay.
and why you're pitching or reaching out to the community like this. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're bootstrapped right now. We have customers in the defense space, as well as agreements in place for some Industry 4.0 customers. But our primary focus is really developing out our ag market. So we have this one flagship customer, Sunray Farms in Northern California, but we've had discussions with multiple other farms, both in Texas and in California as well. And we're in this competition because we need funding to really expand our outreach. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. And last but not least, Chelsea.
Thanks. I think this is a really interesting product, and I'm surprised to hear that most of the big kind of industrial ag IoT is happening at a more expensive scale and at the cloud. So I've learned a lot from you, and I appreciate your knowledge here. I'd like to hear a little bit more about your customer discovery and what you've learned from talking to some of your potential customers. I'm assuming that there's a lot of noise out there in terms of industrial IoT on the agriculture side, and how are you breaking through that clutter to even start the conversations? I know you mentioned your regional partnerships. How is all of that working, and what are you learning from the customer discovery experience?
Sure. As you can imagine, when dealing with farmers or agriculture, this isn't the, I guess, the most early adopters of emerging technologies like this. But there is a core group in every region of these kind of early adopters for agriculture. And a lot of things that happen just kind of, I guess the adoption process happens more through word of mouth than any type of, I guess, digital marketing campaigns. So one thing we've done is, for instance, we've reached out to the USDA Georgetown office and Texas A&M AgriLife Extension office to get involved with these events where we get to speak to the farmers, understand what their specific challenges are around their specific crops. For instance, the challenges you're going to have with corn or cotton is going to be a little bit unique from the challenges you might have at a vineyard, or really with any type of rice or almond farms. You know, water consumption versus examining the soil conductivity. So it's been interesting, and that's why we've kind of put as far as our short-term focus, into a limited number of crops. But we do plan to rapidly expand our solution set out from there.
Super interesting. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Looks like we're out of time here, but in the Q&A section, there were several questions for you, Max, and for Parasanti. So it looks like Josh went in there and responded to those. So thank you for that. Okay, so thank you so much again. We are going to move on. First of all, thank you all so much for your presentations. Truly valuable work that you all are doing, and best of luck to everyone that is in the finals. While we give our judges just a couple of minutes, actually now it's time to cast your vote as an audience. So we are going to give you 2 minutes to send your vote via Zoom poll for the Awesome Fast Start Internet of Things winner. So look on your screen now for the Zoom poll. We are going to give you 2 minutes for voting. And I will wait for the final confirmation on when we are ready to announce the winner. I do want to take just this next minute to say a little bit more about Latinitas as it relates to tech in the city. So at Latinitas, our hope is that through our programs, we're planting the seeds of innovation and creativity, and that the girls who experience our programs will be leaders in their communities and, of course, in said industries of tech, startup, and beyond. So how do we do that? We were built with inclusivity and representation of underrepresented communities in mind, and with the idea that the way we were going to help girls feel confident is through them using the latest in media and tech. Through these mediums, the next generation is experiencing these platforms in a way where they are creating instead of consuming. And when we challenge them to think of themselves as creators and innovators, the ideas from them just flow out. I mean, girls as young as 9, as old as 18, this doesn't just go for the Latinitas, but all communities of color. There's no shortage of imagination and brilliance. And with that said, it's encouraging to community groups like Latinitas and others in the city, when companies and individuals take action and are conscious of the fact that these partnerships, that support, like the ones we've established in the city, it creates nothing but a positive effect on the programs we offer and the community that we serve. So with that, I hope all of you consider participating in your community, getting involved, taking action, starting with AYC, of course, with the annual membership drive, austinyc.org, but also looking into how else you can get involved into your community, especially with organizations and programs that are gearing up the next generation to be innovators like the finalists that we saw today. So thank you all so much. Okay, let's see here. Yes, we are waiting for the audience poll. I guess just another plug. If anyone in the audience as a company or individual is interested in participating with Latinita specifically, we are looking for volunteers. We are always looking for guest speakers, especially with our virtual summer camps coming up for media and tech enrichment for girls. So thank you for the platform. All right, we are ready with the winners. It looks like we are ready to announce. Before we do, let me first say thank you to our prize package sponsors. So we have a $2,500 cash prize from the City of Austin, 1-year corporate membership from the Austin Young Chamber, 3 months of free rent from Capital Factory, 1 ticket to the 2020 Global Roundup Conference from 3 Day Startup, marketing startup package from Honeycomb Creative Company, 3 series business classes from the City of Austin Small Business Program, admission to Camp Entrepreneur in October 2020, and finally, 1 hour of consultation and 50% off web-related services from Magic Mirror developers. And now, to announce tonight's Austin Fast Start Internet of Things winner, we please welcome Jacqueline Mayo, Classes and Events Coordinator for the City of Austin Small Business Program.
I'm talking to my dog. I was muted. I apologize. Congratulations again to everyone who pitched tonight. Very interesting. I was very interested in a lot of them. They were great. So congratulations and good luck. I want to thank our panelists for their hard work. You know, without you, we couldn't do it. And I want to thank AYC, Austin Young Chamber, for hosting Austin Fast Start. They do a fantastic job, and we are so proud to be their partner in this, and we look forward to more. And I just want to say that before I announce the winner, I'm going to keep you guys on your seat a little bit. Yes, I am the Class and Events Coordinator for the City of Austin Small Business Program. We are a conduit, I would say, to the small business community. We are here to help you succeed. Whether we offer you mentoring, coaching, classes, any type of resource that you are looking for, we are here to help you. As I said, we want you to succeed. Austin is probably just one of the greatest places to start a small business. And so with the help of the chamber, the Young Chamber, and the city, we want you guys to come to us when you're in need, when you have questions. If you visit our website at www.smallbizaustin.org and click on classes, you'll see a list of classes that we provide. Since we come into the COVID season, as I call it, we've kind of curtailed our in-person classes, and now we are offering online classes which run until the end of September. So those classes run from accounting, record keeping, social media, marketing. We have classes available to you online that you can take, and we will begin starting in July. We will have what I call instructor-led webinars. We contract with the University of Texas Center for Professional Education to provide these classes to you, and you will be able to participate in all of those as well. So with that being said, I'd like to announce our winner. Yes, I do have my text. And I want to congratulate, and if I say this wrong, I apologize, Parasanti Max.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Please.
Yeah, I'd like to first off thank the Austin Young Chamber. I am a new member of the organization, and I'm excited to give back in any way I can moving forward. And I'd also like to give a special shout out to the MSCC program, as I am a current student in that program as well. So I felt very integrated into this pitch competition. And thank you to all the judges. Your feedback is amazing, and your questions were, great. So thank you, and thank you all for hosting this event too. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Max, don't go away, because we are going to do a virtual screenshot Photoshop or photo op with us, small business, and AYC. So don't go anywhere just yet. And again, thank you to Sylvia for all that you did today, this evening. Fantastic work. Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, congratulations, Parasanti, Max, great presentation. Jacqueline, again, thank you for announcing the winner. And yeah, let's take a quick screenshot and then we'll say our final remarks. Let's see. Okay, are all the judges on with their cameras? Okay, we just need Will and Nick. Let's see, we just need Will.
No, I thought this was outstanding, and I love the fast pitch format. And best of luck to you going forward, Max, and best of luck to all the other finalists too, because I think that these are all viable ventures, and hopefully this is just part of your process, because I can see the conviction in all the entrepreneurs, and I'm pretty certain that we'll be hearing about all of you guys very soon. So best of luck to everyone. Okay. Oh, and thank you and also thank you to the Young Chamber for inviting me and Hypergiant to participate. I love the fast pitch format. I really love it. I think it makes the entrepreneurs be very disciplined, and I think they have to respond to questions quickly. So I was very impressed with this event and very glad to be a part of it. So thank you all.
Thank you all. Well, we took the screenshot, so that's good. Congratulations again to Parasanti. Thank you so much, judges, for your time and expertise. Thank you to our attendees for joining us tonight, and the rest of the finalists. Great work and best of luck. Stay tuned to austinyc.org for more information about the next Austin Fast Start and additional Austin Young Chamber programs. Thank you all so much and have a great evening. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.